The number one reason why $2.5 million is a perfect sweet spot. It is your fortress of solitude. In 2014, Mark Wahlberg started a movie called The Gambler. Essentially, as the title of the movie implies, a story about a guy with a serious gambling addiction who finds himself buried in debt to some very dangerous people. Now, I'll be honest, the movie itself is okay. A lot of Mark Wahlberg doing his same Mark Wahlberg impressions. Tough guy, intense look, some variation of his Boston accent. But there's one scene that really stuck out with me, and stuck with a lot of people, because when you Google John Goodman and the Gambler monologue, you can see it all over the internet. Essentially, Wahlberg's character finds himself knee-deep in debt to a loan shark. And being the bright guy that he is, he decides to go back to the loan shark named Frank, played by John Goodman, to borrow more money. Now, you think a loan shark would just take his money and send him on his way. However, that is not what Frank does here. He lands Mark Wahlberg's character some of the most common sense financial advice. You wonder, what in the world is John Goodman's character doing as a loan shark? Essentially, he explains what to do if you ever find yourself up $2.5 million. Something Mark Wahlberg's character didn't do, because let's be frank, he's not that bright. And the advice is ridiculously simple. You get a house with a 25-year roof. You get an economy car that runs. Then you put the rest into the system at 3 to 5%. Just enough to cover your taxes and live on. That is the base. That, Goodman says, is your fortress of solitude. A position so financially solid that nobody can make you do anything you do not want to do. Now, he of course uses a lot more colorful language to land this, but given I try to keep my videos family friendly, I'll let you view the rated R version yourself. And if you want to have more fun with this, Jill Collins, the author of Simple Path to Wealth, actually does a pretty funny reenactment of this scene using our favorite index funds, VTSAX and VBTLX. I'll have the links to both video clips in the description below. But regardless of which version you watch, what Goodman was describing, in his case with $2.5 million, was a position where nothing can touch you. Somebody wants you to do something you don't want to do, you can just walk away. Boss pisses you off? No worries, you can just quit. Want to take additional risk with your career? Of course, the world is your oyster. You have your fortress of solitude, and that gives you not only the actual ability to take bold risks, but the confidence to do so because you know even in the worst case scenario, you'll still be okay. I know. In a world where we're constantly inundated with stories about billionaires, and now a trillionaire, $2.5 million may not sound like much. Yes, you likely won't be able to fly first class everywhere, stay at penthouses, and eat steak out every night. But that is not the point. What it buys you, in my perspective, is actually far more. Real security. Essentially, enough. Which leads to the next point. The number two reason why $2.5 million is a perfect sweet spot. For most, it is enough. Let me tell you about Chuck Finney. Chuck Finney co-founded Duty-Free Shoppers in 1960 with a college buddy from Cornell. If you ever walked through an airport and picked up a bottle of whiskey or a designer handbag at one of these duty-free shops, there is a decent chance you added to his fortune. Thus, by the 1980s, he had become one of the top 25 richest people in America. And for a time being, he lived like one. He had luxury apartments in New York, London, and Paris, vacation homes in Aspen and the French Riviera, and all the toys that comes with that kind of wealth. Then one day, quietly, without telling a single soul, he started giving it all away. Starting in the 1980s, Finney quietly transferred all his business assets to a foundation called Atlantic Philanthropies. And from there, he started to give anonymously to universities, hospitals, human rights organizations, and causes across 5 continents. Nearly $1 billion to his alma mater Cornell alone. Over $700 million to global health initiatives. Close to $900 million to human rights and social change. By the time Atlantic Philanthropies officially closed its doors in 2020, having distributed its last dollar, Finney had given away nearly $8 billion. Warren Buffett said he should be everybody's hero. Bill Gates called him the ultimate example of giving while living. Now, what he did and how much he gave is tremendous. But what I found most interesting from this story actually wasn't how much he gave, but rather how much he kept. Interestingly, after giving most of his money away, Chuck Finney decided to keep for himself about $2 million. He saw this number as enough to cover his lifestyle, to pay for rent, his medical expenses, his clothes, his travels, everything. Fascinating, right? A man who had experienced all the luxuries that life could offer, luxury apartments, vacation homes, fancy toys, ultimately arrived at $2 million as enough. And the math supports this as well. Now, I'm using $2.5 million, not $2 million, because one, I liked how it was framed by John Goodman's character, and two, as you'll see here in a bit, it gives a nice rounded number when we apply the 4% rule. The 4% rule comes from the Trinity study, and what it essentially says is this, that if you withdraw 4% of your portfolio annually, there's a high probability it can support you throughout your lifetime. And when we apply the 4% to our 2.5 million Fortress of Solitude, what do we get? A nice rounded number of $100,000 a year. A number that is, in my perspective, unless you decide to live in the heart of San Francisco or New York City, enough to provide a very comfortable, stress-free life in most parts of the United States. A decent home, a decent car, a decent lifestyle. And there is data that actually backs this up. According to the Consumer Expenditure Survey by the Bureau of Labor Statistics, the average American household spent $79,000 in 2024. That covers everything. Housing, transportation, food, healthcare, entertainment, all of it. And there's one more data point worth adding here. For years, researchers told us happiness plateaued at $75,000 a year. That number has since been updated. The most current research found that the real threshold is closer to $100,000 a year. Below that, more income meaningfully improves how you feel day to day. However, above it, the gain starts to flatten for most people. Bottom line, at $2.5 million or $100,000 a year, you're not just comfortable. According to the research, you're sitting right at the sweet spot where money has done everything it can do for your happiness. Chuck Finney, when asked why only $2 million, he said, because you can only wear one pair of pants at a time. The number 3 reason why $2.5 million is the perfect sweet spot. It is actually reachable. That for many people, if they have a decent income and a decent savings rate, $2.5 million is actually a doable, achievable goal. I know. Today, as mentioned earlier, with numbers like billionaires and now a trillionaire being thrown around, it's easy to get overwhelmed by the sheer size of these numbers and lose sight of what is actually achievable for most ordinary people. But we have to recognize that million and billion are two completely different things, separated not by a little but by a factor of 1,000. Thus, the chances are most of us will likely never reach billionaire status because that requires tremendous amount of risk, focus, and frankly, luck. However, that does not mean becoming a millionaire is also out of reach as well. No, that is actually quite doable. To show you that, let's actually run the numbers. Let's say you start investing $1,500 a month, a number totally doable if you have a decent income and you manage your expenses well. Well, if you were to put this money into a broad market index fund because you're a smart investor who watches Financial Tortoise, how long would it take you to reach $2.5 million? At an average return of 8%, you would get to $2.5 million in about 31 years. Not bad. If you started working at 25, this means you hit your goal by the age of 56, an early retirement for most people. But what if you ramp up this number more? Let's say we go gung-ho and ramp it up to $3,000 a month. That comes out to $36,000 a year. That is more than doable if you're maxing out your 401k, getting a match, and also funding your Roth IRA. Then what? At $3,000 a month at 8%, you hit $2.5 million right around the 25-year mark. Start at 25, and you're there by 50. By the way, if you want to run your own scenarios with your own numbers, I built a free compound interest calculator for situations just like this. You can plug in your own monthly contribution, whether that's $1,500, $2,000, $3,000, or whatever your situation allows, and see exactly how long it takes you to hit your $2.5 million Fortress of Solitude. The tool is completely free and available for you to access in the description below. Just my small gift to you for taking your precious time to watch my videos. And if you want to take this further and get personalized guidance on your own situation, whether that's figuring out the right savings rate, how to structure your accounts, or how to build your own path to retirement, that's exactly what the Financial Tortoise community is for. It is a private membership community where you get access to one-on-one coaching with me, live Q&A calls, and a custom AI assistant trained on all my teachings, available 24/7. However, enrollment is limited and only opens a few times a year, so head over to financialtortoise.com/community to join the waitlist and get priority access when doors open again. Alright, with that, let's get back to the video. So what is the point of all this? It is to highlight the fact that $2.5 million is not some pie-in-the-sky goal that is out of reach for most people. No, it is actually a very reachable goal, even for the most ordinary of us. Dave Ramsey surveyed tens of thousands of American millionaires for his book, Baby Steps Millionaires, and one of the key traits they found was this. Most millionaires, The ones that reached that $2.5 million milestone were just regular people with regular jobs like you and I. They were teachers, engineers, accountants, nurses. They earned average salaries, but because they kept their expenses low and invested the gap for a long enough time, they were able to arrive at the millionaire status. Yes, most of us will likely never reach the billionaire or trillionaire status. I'll be honest with that because that requires tremendous amount of risk and luck. However, $2.5 million, that is absolutely within the reach for people who are willing to be patient, stay consistent, and let time do the heavy lifting. But do you know what else is cool about reaching the $2.5 million perfect sweet spot? It actually doesn't end there. Actually consider that the starting point for most people's wealth. Yes, it acts as your fortress of solitude, and it can afford your enough lifestyle. But if you still have enough time remaining, it is the base from which your wealth can really start to compound to the next level, which leads to the next reason. The number 4 reason why $2.5 million is the perfect sweet spot. It is only the beginning. Yes, as I mentioned earlier, arriving at $2.5 million is an amazing milestone. You have your fortress of solitude, which gives you so much freedom and confidence. You have your base of enough, $100,000 a year that you can withdraw. With that, you can afford a very comfortable lifestyle. However, what gets me really excited about this milestone actually goes beyond this. Because here's what most people do not realize about $2.5 million. The compounding does not slow down at this point. It actually goes in overdrive. At 8%, $2.5 million generates roughly $200,000 a year in portfolio growth. That is a portfolio growing by $200,000 a year without you contributing a single dollar. By the rule of 72, your $2.5 million doubles to $5 million in about 9 years. Then that $5 million becomes $10 million, all on its own, quietly in the background. But what really excites me about hitting this milestone is not just what the money does on its own. It is what it allows you to do with everything else. Because when your fortress of solitude is intact, when you know that you can live off $100,000 a year without compromising your future retirement, you can suddenly take risks that most people are too afraid to take. You want to leave your corporate job and start a business you always dreamt about? You can do that. Because even if your business takes 3 years to find its footing, your $2.5 million is still sitting there compounding in the background. You want to switch careers entirely? Take a lower paying job that is more meaningful, more aligned with where you want to go? You can do that too. That pay cut does not threaten your foundation. You want to take a year off, a sabbatical, time with your kids while they're still young? Go ahead. The portfolio is still there. It keeps growing while you're still figuring things out. Most people never take the career swings they want to take because they cannot afford to fail. Well, at $2.5 million, you can afford to fail. And ironically, that ability to fail is usually what allows many people to really find success. Jeff Bezos had a framework for exactly this kind of decision. When he was considering leaving his comfortable Wall Street job to start what would eventually become Amazon, he developed what he called the regret minimization framework. He asked himself a simple question. When I'm 80 years old, looking back at my life, which decision will I regret more? Trying and failing, or never trying at all? For most people, the risks that we never took will haunt us far more than the ones that we took and failed at. The number 5 and the final reason why $2.5 million is the perfect sweet spot. Because more does not equal more happiness. As alluded to earlier, Elon Musk recently became the world's first trillionaire, a historic milestone. And the world did what it always does. It stopped, stared, and awed at the number. And I get it. It's an extraordinary achievement. I'll be honest about that. The man built rocket companies that were considered science fiction. He almost single-handedly brought electric cars to mainstream when many said it couldn't be done. He is, without question, one of the most remarkable entrepreneurs in human history. But here's a question I feel not enough people stop to ask when the headlines get all too excited. Is he happy? Is he content? Because if you look past the net worth and actually look at his life, the whole life, I think it gets complicated very quickly. Musk has publicly acknowledged using ketamine to manage depression. The Wall Street Journal reported on recreational use of other substances, including LSD and cocaine, at private gatherings. He has been through multiple divorces. He has fathered 14 children with 4 different women, and one of his children has publicly and legally cut all ties with him. He has spoken openly about sleeping on the factory floor during production crisis, barely resting, carrying the weight of 6 companies simultaneously. And this is not gossip. This is the documented reality of a man with $1 trillion. Yes, he has achieved an amazing financial milestone, something that no one else on planet Earth has ever achieved. But at what cost? Because the morning after he crossed that milestone, I'm pretty sure the conversation has already shifted to the next goal. When is $2 trillion? It is a never-ending pursuit. Now contrast that with someone who has defined their enough, who built their fortress of solitude, and made a conscious decision to stop chasing and start living for today. In my book, that is more happiness than what $1 trillion can buy. Thank you guys for watching. If you want to learn more about this concept of enough and contentment, I think you'll find this video interesting. Until next time, all the best.